Hey, Stacey David here with the Tales of the Gearhead podcast. Now, this is a podcast about everything automotive, everything mechanical. You're going to get advice, you're going to get ideas, you're going to hear guests, you're going to hear people that are just like you. Everything is going to be wrapped around the automotive lifestyle, so we know you're going to love it. Today's podcast is brought to you by Holley Performance Parts and Woodward Fabrication. All right, let's get rolling. All right, we have a special guest here today on the podcast. I have an absolute automotive legend here, and somebody from that magic era of racing and car design. I have Peter Brock here, and if you're not familiar with Peter, he was instrumental in the second-gen Corvette design, obviously the Shelby Daytona coupe, and he is the namesake behind BRE Racing. And if you guys ever saw any of those 240Zs and 510 sedans, you know Peter Brock's work. Peter, welcome to the podcast, man.
Stacey, what an honor to be on the show. I'm really stoked to be here with you. Of course, I'm here in town for the Z-Car convention.
You know, let's talk about that. We're in here for Z-Con.
Yeah.
A lot of people don't realize how instrumental you are for introducing the 240Z to the American public. So my first question to you is, through BRE Racing, do you think the 240Z would have been as popular as it was if it wasn't for your success on the racetrack?
Well, I'm sure that we helped on it, but the car itself is such a beautiful design. It was so successful in the American market, price-wise, availability, styling, that it was hard not to be popular with the general public. But as far as the race car goes, I don't think it would have been nearly as successful without the development that we did at BRE.
Yeah. Now, BRE is still around. People can still buy parts for their Z cars, right?
Right, yeah. We still make a few things on it. We don't run the full development shop that we used to have.
Yeah.
Because we're just too busy building Aerovault trailers today.
Yes. I want to talk to you about that here in a minute, too. Because that's the trailer that folds up and...
No, it's a full aerodynamic, super lightweight trailer. It's the big advantage, of course, is that in towing it, it's so light and aerodynamic that you hardly even know it's behind you. And you can't appreciate how good it is, really, until you've towed a conventional trailer. Conventional trailers, of course, are designed to hold as many square boxes as possible.
Yeah.
But it's... if you looked at that from a design point of carrying automobiles, you'd be carrying all this extra space up in the corners that you don't need. So the whole background of the Aerovault trailer is to utilize the space as best as possible and reduce the frontal area.
So if people want to find out more about those trailers, where do they go?
You go to Aerovault on online.
Aerovault.
Yeah. Just look up trailers, automobile trailers, the Aerovault trailers, but...
Okay, and these are car hauler trailers, correct?
Just the car haulers, yeah.
All right, now do you do enclosed and open trailers?
We make 5 different sizes. I started out simply making one for myself, and it was immediately so popular that we had to build a few more, and then people wanted them for bigger cars, longer cars, and then guys from the rods that, that had 40 Ford coupes or old Model A's wanted to... So then we made a taller model as well. So by combining the 3 lengths and the different heights, we've got 5 different models available.
Yeah. Now, if somebody looks into Peter Brock a little bit, they understand you're all about aerodynamics.
Yes.
From the cars clear back to the Stingray, have you always been into that? What is it about body shape and aerodynamics that just always captured you? What is it?
Well, the first thing you've got to understand is that as you double the speed on any shape going through the air, the drag goes up by the square.
Okay.
So you can see instantly if you're interested in anything that of higher speed or more efficiency, that you're going to have to get the air to flow over that shape as efficiently as possible. So it's the cheapest horsepower you can get if you just think about what things are going to look like.
I think one of the biggest things, too, and one thing that really makes your design work stand out, a lot of people design from aesthetics. In other words, if they think it looks aerodynamic, they think it is. And that's not necessarily the case, as in the case of the Shelby Daytona coupe.
Well, of
Talk about
course,
that.
all of that is, again, it's let's call it the dogma of design, because that all came from what the French did originally in the
Yeah.
1930s. You know, taking the original shape of a fish or a raindrop or anything, considering,
Yeah.
you know, looking at that, you think from an engineering standpoint, that would be the most efficient shape
Yeah.
for an automobile. But you can't apply that particular area and shape to an automobile because it just doesn't work. An automobile would end up being, you know, 10 foot longer than it should be.
Yeah.
So the minute that you try to compromise that, you lose all the advantage of trying to make this sort of graceful looking shape. And there are other ways to solve that that don't look as good but work far better.
Yeah. Okay, so when you look back, obviously the Z-Car thing and BRE racing was very popular. You had a lot of milestones like that. When you kind of look at that, what thing are you kind of most proud of that you've kind of achieved? When you look back on it, is there one thing that you're like, gosh, I'm just really happy I was involved with that?
Well, I think the thing that I'm most proud of is working with all the guys that helped me build all this stuff. But
Yeah.
in looking back on it, all I see is the compromises that I had to make during those periods of time.
Wow.
Everything that's been done has never been done as much as I'd like to have it done. So I'm never really happy with it. I'm very proud of the things that have been done, but I know how much better each one of them could have been done if there hadn't been either resistance from a
Oh, my
management
gosh.
standpoint or finances or disbelief in what was going on. So everything could have been better.
That is an amazing statement. It's hard to imagine because of the amount of success that you did have with your designs. What could have been. Now, do you think that's just part of maybe you being a perfectionist, or because obviously that's part of it? You just
Well, I think everything, if you try to be a perfectionist all the time, you hurt yourself. You've just got to get stuff done and out on the road
yeah,
and prove it, and then you can keep developing, and that's a far more successful way than trying to do it all at once and then come out and then put it on the road and realize that, you know, there's a lot more that could be done. So
yeah,
by doing stuff in stages, it's faster and cheaper and more successful.
yeah. When you're at places like Z-Con or at some of these, because I know you do a lot of the Shelby or the Cobra events and things like that. When you're out there at those events and you see people building replicas of cars that you designed, how does that make you feel?
Oh, I'm always, you know, very, very honored that people would, you know, recognize
Yeah,
where those particular forms or shapes show up in automotive history. And I think that those two cars have definitely got a spot, and I'm very, very proud of that. And then I've got to look back and say, you know, how did that occur? You know, like the split window Corvette could
Yeah.
never have happened without Bill Mitchell.
Yeah, oh,
I
yeah.
mean, that is Bill Mitchell's car. He directed the design.
Yeah.
I drew it for him, do exactly what he wanted.
yeah. He knew what he wanted.
But even when I tried to defer a little bit from that, Bill was exactly pointing me back on what he wanted on it. So I can't claim that design totally on my own. The overall concept is Bill Mitchell's completely.
Yeah.
And I just did the refinement for him.
Yeah. Now, the Shelby Daytona coupe, though, that was your design, correct?
Completely, absolutely. Every line on it, every idea on it was. But there again, because of the resistance in terms of finances,
Sure.
and most important, time just to get it done. There was so much more that could have been done, and then the fact that no more development would have been allowed on the car, because the car, the attitude at Shelby's once we had the car going fast enough was like, we're not going to spend another dime on it. It's already fast enough. We're not going to do any more development. And I said, the car can be so much better. Let's do
Really?
this. Let's do that. And they said, we don't have time to do it. We're winning with it. Leave it alone. If it's good enough for today, it's good enough for tomorrow.
Wow. So he was already on to other stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah. Have you ever thought about doing your own cars, your own BRE cars?
Not completely, because I realize, having been in the industry, what it takes to do that.
Yeah.
I would better stick to what I do best, is overall concept and form with it, and work with great engineers. I mean, I've worked with so many good engineers and realize what they can contribute that I don't have, because I don't have that background And they are as great an artist. You don't appreciate it because it's all underneath the skin. But working with the great designers like Trevor Harris, who I've got incredible respect for, and has done so much good stuff. Again, it takes a combination of very tight people that all in the same goals to make something good.
Yeah, just like a band.
I'd love to.
Yeah. When you look at, your life, a lot of people don't realize what a great driver that you were. They look at you, they see you're a designer and this and that. They don't realize that you were a really good race driver. Did you ever want to do that more, or did Carroll just not let you do it? Because you taught the driving school for Carroll for a while, correct?
And everything that I learned was from Ken Miles, believe me.
Yeah. And that's like learning to play guitar from Jimi Hendrix.
I mean, it couldn't have been any better. But from the time that I got interested in cars, and that was working at a small shop in Sausalito when I was 12 and 13 years old, and saw my first race car, fabricated from scratch, and then taking a ride in that car and understanding that, that you don't steer with the steering wheel, you steer with the throttle. That was probably the most life-changing moment I've ever had. I always wanted to be part of that and want to be a race driver. But I just got to the point in my life that I had to either make a choice to be a race driver or a team manager and to run the organization. And there are lots of good guys out there that, especially like John Morton, that I ran into at the Shelby Driving School, that when I put John in the car, I mean, there was just nobody out there better. And not only was he a tremendously skilled driver, but it was being a fabricator himself. Mm-hmm. He had a great sensitivity for machinery and took care of stuff. So when the car came in at the end of 2.5, 3 hours, I mean, it's still in very, very good shape. A lot of drivers out there, by the time the car is finished, you have to rebuild it completely. Yeah. So that's where a great, great driver like Ken Miles or John Morton shows up, is their sensitivity to the machinery. Yeah.
People like to pigeonhole people into one situation, how they know you. So they look at you and they think, okay, so he's a sports car guy or he's a race car guy, and they don't realize you're also a hot rod guy. That's kind of your background.
Well, it's all Southern California. That's where I came from,
Because didn't you win the Oakland Roadster Show with the Fordillac or whatever it was?
Yeah.
Tell me, what was that?
Well,
Ford with a Cadillac motor in it?
Yeah, it was a 46 Ford. I bought it sort of as a half-completed automobile, and it was a really beautifully done custom job. It had been chopped, it had been channeled, and been sectioned. But I continued on with the car and put one of the first overhead valve engines in that people were putting in. That was a Cadillac engine. It had a 54 Caddy engine in it, 36 valve gearbox and stuff. So it was still fast, but it was a good-looking car. So that was the sort of combination. I couldn't see myself having a Ferrari or anything like that.
Sure.
But Briggs Cunningham was the guy that first started my thinking about building American cars, and he came very close to being able to do it. He never really completed the cars the way I think that he'd like to have done. Yeah. But the fact that he started doing it and was out there leading everybody in that direction, there wouldn't be people like Jim Hall out there that have done the great stuff without guys like Briggs.
One of the most popular names in the automotive aftermarket is Holley. But what a lot of people don't realize is that Holley now has a bunch of brands that they represent, and these are all very famous brands just like them. So when you're looking for any kind of parts for your project, it would behoove you to go to Holley and look through their brands, look at all the stuff that they carry. You can pretty much build a whole project right off of their website. So if you need products, if you need something for an electrical system or suspension or truck parts or motor parts or superchargers or anything like that, Holley is the place you need to check out first. If you've watched my shows very much over the years, you know that I'm really into metal fabrication and metal work. And people are always asking, hey, you know, what's the best tools to use? What do you use? And obviously, I've got a lot of really nice tools, but most of the stuff that you need to do really quality metalwork is not that sophisticated and it's not that expensive. It's body hammers, it's shrinkers and stretchers, it's sheet metal brakes, and these are all things that you can pick up at Woodward Fab. It's the stuff that I use on the show, and I tell you what, man, it'll get the job done. And you don't have to spend a lot of money, but you do have to spend time getting to know the tools and understanding how to make metal work and how to make metal move. And that is what the Woodward Fab tools will do for you. So if you're looking to get into doing some metal work, man, check out some of their hammers, their dollies, their shrinkers, their stretchers, their sheet metal brakes, and get into it, because I'll tell you what, once you start to make that metal move, you will be hooked, man, I'll tell you, and you'll love it. And there's nothing like having the freedom to take a panel and go, you know, I think I'm going to change that panel because now I can. So check out Woodward Fab. You know, one of the things, too, that you were right in the middle of, you know, American car culture was very drag race oriented, especially through the late 50s into the 60s. So to change the public's mind into road racing was very difficult. You know, it was all happening in Europe. We didn't have road racing as much. How difficult was that to try to get people in America to get into road racing? How were you guys able to do that? Because you definitely did it with the Z car.
Well, the Z car was something that changed the perception of what automobiles should be on the road. Because, I mean, even though we had the Corvette here in the United States as a really nicely done GT car,
yeah,
and we had the Cobras in very limited production, which were all out performance.
Yeah,
we didn't have a car that had the best combination of low price, very elegant styling, something that could match anything that came out of Europe. And the Z car was that automobile, I think, that really changed the American perception of what a good car could be. I mean, we saw the Opel GT, which was pretty good.
It's pretty good.
And it could have been a lot better. But, of course, the guy that was responsible for that, Tony Lapine, went from Opel over to Porsche and led Porsche design for 35 years and tried to convert a lot of the Porsche guys over to front engine, water cooled stuff.
Yeah.
And the whole Porsche contingent would never go along with it because it wasn't what they considered a Porsche.
Yeah.
But they were very fine automobiles. And if you look at everything that Porsche has used finally in terms of outright competition,
yeah,
they've gone either to front or mid-engine, not rear engine.
Uh-huh.
So Tony had a lot to do basically as a stylist that worked on the program, who actually did the production version of the Stingray coupe with Larry Shinoda.
Yeah, yeah.
And he had left before Larry left the GM, so Tony never got as much credit for doing that car as Larry Shinoda did when they did the production car.
Yeah.
You know, I'm very, very proud of the concept car, which is the XB87, from which the Stingray developed, but actually it was Larry Shinoda that did the production version.
When you look at the cars that are out there now, is there anything new that you see coming out that you like? As far as the designs and stuff, is there anything new that manufacturers are coming out with that you like?
The guys that are really doing this stuff is, I'm not sure how you pronounce the name of it, but that's GZ Engineering and stuff out of California.
Yeah.
They've taken the whole idea of developing any component on a computer, and designing that shape and form for as light and as strong as possible. And you look at all of the parts, and there's nothing that came off a drawing board. Everything has come off the computer, and it is so exciting in terms of looking at all the components that they've made. It's really, really fantastic. It's far ahead of whatever anybody else is doing, and I think it's going to probably have more influence on what we see in the future than anything else.
Yeah. You know, I'm glad you brought that up. You described designing cars using tape and string with Ken Miles sitting in the car, and these cars went on to win Le Mans.
Yep.
So what do you think of the computer design stuff? Do you think you could have used that? Would you have liked to use that? Or do you think something's missing that guys aren't designing by the seat of their pants?
I am still, I'm a dinosaur. I still work with the string and cardboard and cut out paper dolls and whatever, because everything's, I don't care what you design on paper, and I do all my cars on paper first before I do them three-dimensionally. When you finally start putting that car together full size, you've got to put somebody inside it and see how it really works.
Yeah.
And at that point, you begin refining it. Now, there's been so much done on that basis from computers. You can pick a lot of those dimensions out and move them around and get a very sort of comfortable cockpit, whatever you want to design. So a lot of future automotive design is going to be sort of prescribed by what's already been done, because of we've got so many regulations and so much federal oversight on what's been done that automobiles as we know them now are not going to be the same in the future. All that great era that I was privileged to grow up in is gone and won't come back.
I talk to guys about that a lot that are trying to get into fabrication and building hot rods and that kind of thing. And I always tell them, it's like, listen, you can draw it out as much as you want, but eventually you got to build it.
Absolutely.
And sometimes you step back after you've put all that work into it, and it's like, that just doesn't work.
Absolutely, yeah.
And it worked on paper, but now that you've actually done it, you're like, oh.
No, you got to make it. It's so much easier to mock stuff up. You can go down to the market and get a bunch of big cardboard boxes and a couple of knives and stuff and tape, duct tape and stuff. And you can build that whole thing on the floor and figure out what it all looks like. Then take those dimensions and put them on paper, and you'll be a lot closer than trying to put them on paper and then make them.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
so because we always talk about music on here too, cars and guitars go hand in hand. So you grew up in Southern California in the 60s. Yeah. So what kind of music did you listen to? What'd you like? Were you a Beatles fan?
Well, I think that, Creedence Clearwater or something like that.
Oh, see, you're talking the magic now.
I mean, that's that whole era, that's still my favorite.
Yeah. So when you get in the car and you turn something music on, what is one of those songs that you just love to drive to?
Well, I actually turn the radio off. The sound I like is what I can hear, because I'm almost totally deaf now, having ruined my hearing. But
with all those racing engines,
and gunfire. I enjoyed shooting for a while, and I think that without the proper hearing protection, I've destroyed my ears.
My dad did the same thing. He was a competitive shooter for the military for years.
Was he?
Yeah, and so he's got some hearing loss too.
Yeah. Because
you didn't wear hearing protection, that was uncool.
Yes, right, exactly. And even when I thought I had the correct protection in there, the sound is so preventive and so destructive immediately that you don't realize until 1 or 2 hours after you've been doing it.
Yeah. So anyway, as far as the music, is there any particular songs that you like to put on? You did say CCR, so I'm sure there's...
Absolutely. Anything from that particular era, even Stones is always fun to listen to. If I look at all the great music that I really, that I liked when I was growing up, it was all before my time. All the big band stuff.
Really?
Is stuff that I have a greater appreciation for, because I love great dance music.
Yeah.
And so...
that makes sense, though, when I look at your style of design. Yeah. It's very classic.
Yeah.
So that totally fits in what kind of music that you would like.
Yeah. No, I think I'm a 40s guy in terms of what I really appreciated most in the great big band eras. Because those arrangements were just... They were so beyond to be able to take that many instruments and put it all together. Yeah. Was stuff that I have the greatest appreciation for.
Like the Glenn Miller stuff?
Obviously Miller, just fabulous. All during the war was great.
Yeah. Going back to design a little bit, okay, so you were in the middle of the battle with the Shelby Daytona coupe. Then, of course, there's the Jag XKE coupe, which has that same shape, roughly. And then you have the Ferrari 250 GTO, same kind of shape. Corvette in '68 comes out, similar type shape. And then there's this Z car that comes out with a similar type shape. Did it kind of give you a warm, fuzzy feeling that that's your design is part of that influence?
I don't think I can claim anything that at all. I think because as designers, we all look at what else is going on in the world, and we draw a little bit from this or a little bit from that, and interpret it ourselves.
Well said.
So the Z car is definitely an interpretation of many great forms and proportions and stuff that was appreciated by the designer, and that's what makes the car so great. But it's not a steal of any particular car. It's a great amalgamation of all of those great things.
Yeah, and that's what makes you such a great. You're so humble with the things that you've done. You're so appreciative, and that's I tell you, it's a great lesson for people that it takes a team to put things together.
Yeah,
whether it's a band or a car builder or our show, whatever, it takes a group of people.
Yeah.
And that's awesome. Let me ask you this. When you look back on your life, you've lived a very productive, full life. Is there anything particular that you want or would like to be remembered for? When people think back and they go, well, Peter Brock was blank. He was this. Is there anything particular? I mean, that's a hard question because nobody looks at himself that way.
I look at it probably the most exciting period of my life, which I had more fun doing than anything else, was hang gliding. I actually had the largest hang gliding manufacturing company in the world.
Son of a gun, you are like an onion, man. You just keep, this is more stuff.
Well,
hang gliding.
Because the whole thing started really on the sand dunes out near my race shop. We were jumping off of sand dunes.
So you were one of those thrill seeker guys.
Oh yeah, I mean it was absolutely. These things were all made out of bamboo and duct tape, and we were just flying these things on the sand dunes there, and then started really developing it, with aluminum tubing and sailcloth, and starting to jump off higher mountains, and then we discovered thermals where we could start climbing, and circling and going for distance, and this became the whole development of the whole hang gliding and foot launch.
So you were right there at the beginning of that hang gliding thing?
I did it myself, yeah.
Oh my gosh.
There was 3 companies really in Southern California that did it.
Yeah.
And we were all competitive. And of course, this was a sport that was literally unseen because all the places we were flying, people never saw.
Yeah.
We were up in the mountains, but when we finally came to have our international championships were held in the Owens Valley up in California. People have no idea that that you've got this little 80-pound glider, and that you're taking off on the side of a mountain, and you're climbing to 12 to 15,000 feet, and you're flying hundreds of miles across the desert.
Oh my gosh.
That is a real thrill because what you're climbing in thermals and using all natural energy for it. And
purest type of flying. It's got to be the purest type of flying.
It's the purest form of flying, because it's all weight shift controlled, and you can develop it even farther. So there are now some really beautiful little super light foot launch sailplanes now that are full 3-axis control. There's as exciting to fly as any super sailplane. So from a standpoint of something really thrilling to do and catching a thermal and climbing those thousands of feet, that's every bit as exciting as it ever was driving race cars.
Now, are you still involved in that at all, or?
No.
Okay.
No, I screwed up my back years back and can't even lift anything anymore. But, every day I go out, I look in the sky.
Oh, man, that's got to be awesome.
If you can see those great cumes like we've got outside out there, look, I just see how much lift is being developed by those clouds and what kind of flying it would be. That's where I'd like to be.
Yeah. Well, for people that want something for their Z car, there's BRE. They can still go to BRE and get like your spoilers and your air dams and your mirrors and things like that.
Yeah, these are all things that will they actually improve the performance of the car in terms of overall driving.
Yeah.
And those are still available from BRE, but there's some really good shops in California. If you want to build up a really fine Z car, there's nobody that's going to touch them. Or guys that specialize in those L series engines that are putting out so much more horsepower than we did back in the day.
Sure.
But, you know, it's like anything else, like the flathead Ford V8s. You know, just amazing what happened with that engine over the years.
Gosh, yeah.
You know, nobody would have ever suspected what was going to happen with that.
Yeah.
And it took the overhead valve engine really to supplant it.
Yeah. And then, of course, if they want a trailer, there's Aerovault.
Absolutely. Yeah, there isn't anything better.
Yeah. And if you don't know much about Peter, you need to just Google him and just look at his history and his biography. It's very amazing. Peter, it's an honor to have you on here. It's great to talk with you. You are a national treasure. You really are.
Oh, thank you.
You're just one of those guys from that magic era, and you were in the middle of it. And
well,
it's great to meet you and have you on here.
Well, thank you. You know, it doesn't happen by yourself, believe me. You know.
I was going to say, I may just put you to work here because I see you looking at some of this stuff.
Oh, man, your shop, it looks so good. I just come in here and spend hours in here. Yeah.
Yeah, that's awesome. Thank you.
Thanks, Dave.
All right, that's our show for today, which means you need to get out there and start working on something. Spend some time turning wrenches. You might be surprised how much you like it. Now, make sure that you check out our website, staceydavid.com, because we've got all kinds of new products and some other great stuff that you're just going to love. I've got a new children's book called Iggy and the Stick Man. This is a story about a lowly stick that has dreams of greatness, only to be ridiculed by his friends. But then through a series of events, he learns that it is possible to get up off the ground and change everything if you're willing to persevere. You need to check it out. Also, make sure you check out our social media. That's Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, YouTube, all at Official Stacey David. Our social media is where you're going to find all of our bonus content, the giveaways, the contests, the trivia. We even have extra viewer projects that focus on what you are working on. Also, the new season of Gears will be on Racer Network, and YouTube will be the place where you can view all of your favorite Gears episodes, as well as the full project builds that follow a project from beginning to end. So that's really nice. But remember, the most important thing is you need to get out there and turn some wrenches yourself. So get a project and start working on it. Also, if you want to take your project to the next level, check out Holley and all of their related brands. They will definitely have something that will help you. Finally, if you need to work some metal, check out Woodward Fab. These are the tools that I use in the shop, and they've been making quality metal products since 1966. All right, that's all the announcements. We're all up to date. We'll see you next time.